analyst, Jay Will. Bobby Marks, our senior front office insider. I'm Malika Andrews. And Bobby, you have said this may be the deepest class since
1996, 30 years ago.
1996, exactly 30 years ago, which means the stakes for these lottery teams, Jay, they couldn't be higher. But how would you describe the talent that we are seeing?
Well, to Bobby's point, I think it's the depth, not just the depth of star talent. We've got star talent. This is the deepest freshman class that I can remember in all my years, and there's not a lot of separation between the first pick and the 10th pick in this draft. You take a look at the second five and the best available. Keaton Wagler had 46 points in a game earlier this year for Illinois. Reminds you a lot of Tyrese Halliburton. There are a lot of outstanding players in this draft. So if you don't get the number one pick and get to choose between A.J. Dybantsa and Darren Peterson, you're still going to get a star caliber player deeper down in this draft.
And look, I know according to a lot of mock drafts, right, the slate from 1 to 3 pretty much seems solidified for a lot of people between A.J. Dybantsa, Darren Peterson, and Cameron Boozer. But depending upon size and fit at that 2 spot, I think there's a lot of players out there with size that have that upward trajectory. And one player in particular is Caleb Wilson. I've seen him work out, guys. You think about a comp between Jermaine O'Neal, maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? Wow. His upside, we could be talking about Caleb Wilson potentially being the second pick in the NBA draft. And then you have Keaton Wagler, who has the distance and shooting frame like Stephen Curry, size, frame, handling ability, a lot of talent in this class that could be taken in the top 3.
I think it's a draft of guards. I think when you look at Jay Billis's list here, we could see potentially 7 players of guards going in the top 10 here. When you're looking at Darren Peterson, Darius Acuff, Kingston Flemings, the big question is when you talk to these prospects, how do they get separation from each other? And we're going to learn a lot about that in the next month and a half.
Absolutely. And to your point, Jay Will, the conversation about who is going to be selected number 1, that has certainly been a debate amongst executives over the last several months, but it's starting to solidify. So let's take a look at some of our draft lottery headlines here and who has that luck of the draw, because there's 3 teams with the best odds to win, and they are the Wizards, the Pacers, the Nets. All of them have a 14% chance at that number 1 pick. And then here you see the rest of the odds for the top pick. 3 of the last 7 teams to win the lottery, remember, they had a 6% chance or less. So what you're saying, my friends, is there's a chance. And speaking of chances, the Thunder, yeah, they're still in the conversation here. They continue to benefit from the 2019 Paul George trade with the Clippers. Yeah, that landed them Shea as well. And if the Pacers, they fall out of the top 4, remember their pick will go to the Clippers due to that Ivica Zubac trade that we saw ahead of this year's deadline. And then there's the Hawks. They get the more favorable of the Pelicans and the Bucks picks, while the Bucks get the less favorable of the 2. I hope everyone was taking notes. I know that was a lot of housekeeping here. We will make sure to remind you how these odds can fall. But coming up, we check in with A.J. Dybantsa, with Cam Boozer, with Darren Peterson, and all of them are joined by a special guest because it is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and all of them are joined by their mamas here in Chicago as well, plus hardware here at Navy Pier as we welcome you back to the 2026 NBA Draft Lottery. And ultimately, today, it is all about the players. And we have 23 different NBA prospects here with us today, and we're going to check in with a few of them, starting with A.J. Dybantsa, here with his wonderful mother, Chelsea. And Chelsea, you have raised a confident young man, a young man who's been very clear about his goals, and that is to win and to go number 1. So AJ, we're just a couple of moments away here from seeing how the lottery order shakes out. When that number 1 envelope is opened, can you give us a glimpse into what's going to be going through your mind?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, for sure. Just preparing for this moment. Obviously wanting to be the number 1 pick, working to be the number 1 pick. So it'll be exciting. Great opportunity.
Thank you so much, AJ. Congratulations. Enjoy today. I mentioned there's several prospects that are here with us, and that includes Darren Peterson, his mother, Natasha, who is here as well. And Darren, college, it was a journey, and now it is behind you, and you're on the doorstep of your NBA dream, and you're doing so next to someone who's been standing by your side this entire time. So what does it mean to you to be about to take this next step with your mom here on Mother's Day?
It means a lot to me and my family. Like you said, this is the next chapter. She's been with me every chapter of the way. So just blessed to have her as my mom and blessed to be here today.
Thank you so much, Darren. Congratulations, Natasha. This is what makes today so special. I love that this is happening on Mother's Day because it gives us a chance to see these prospects with the people who mean the most to them. Cam Boozer is here as well with his mother, Cece. And Cam, Family has been at the center of your entire basketball journey. So today, you have talked about in the past how it doesn't matter if you go 1 or 15, it's all about fit. How does that become clearer when the draft lottery order is revealed?
You just get to see where you can end up. And, my mom being here is super special for me. Her support, her sacrifice she made my whole life. I wouldn't be here without her. And I know a lot of people here would say the same thing. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers here, and so for good lottery.
Cam, thank you very much for that insight. Enjoy today. I know there's a lot of emotions, a lot of anxiety that oftentimes comes with a day like today. And we're moments away from the lottery reveal. But first, have you ever wondered, right, how the lottery works? Well, our Brian Windhorst, at the risk of parroting Hamilton, takes us inside the room where it happens.
When the ping pong balls fall, the exhilaration begins. The NBA lottery can change a franchise for a generation, but it's a place nobody wants to be. You know what you see on TV, the celebrations of victory, the silence and loss. The real tension is in the room where it happens, where 14 balls whir, and each of the 4 drawn pop like little spikes to the soul.
10, 14, 11, and 7.
There's 1,001 possible combinations. The team's jackpots are posted on the wall. The ones with the most, the Wizards, Pacers, and Nets, have 140 precious combos this year. The Jazz and Kings have 115, and so on. Last year, the Mavs had just 18, but one magically delivered Cooper Flag. The difference between the Hornets getting Con Knipple and having their turnaround season and the Wizards and Jazz rebuilding again? One single ball. That's the margin and the stakes. This year, the prize could be the euphoria of getting a talent like A.J. Debonsa, Darren Peterson, or Cameron Boozer. A miss is agony. It's the NBA lottery. Let the balls fall where they may.
A miss is agony. Well, the stakes, they couldn't be higher. Thank you, Brian, for that trip inside the lottery room. Now, it is time to meet the representatives on stage here with us today. Representing Charlotte is forward Con Knipple, the 4th pick in last year's NBA draft. Miami has sent 2006 NBA champion and Hall of Famer Alonzo Mourning. Representing Oklahoma City is the 12th pick in the 2003 draft, Nick Collison. Golden State has sent Larry Harris, Assistant General Manager and Director of Player Personnel. And representing Milwaukee is Mallory Edens, the daughter of Bucks Governor Wes Edens. Chicago has sent 3-time NBA champion and Hall of Famer Tony Kukoc. Representing Dallas, a Mavericks legend, 4-time NBA All-Star Rolando Blackman. Atlanta has sent General Manager Anzi Saleh. Remember, the Atlanta Hawks won this draft 2 years ago. Representing Memphis is 2004 NBA champion Tayshaun Prince. And here at Sacramento is General Manager Scott Perry. Representing Utah is guard Keontae George. Brooklyn has sent Nets guard Hall of Famer Vince Carter. As for Indiana, they've sent guard TJ McConnell. And finally, representing Washington is 5-time NBA All-Star John Wall. And now, NBA Chief Security Officer Leon Newsom is escorting the only person here who actually knows the results of the draft lottery. Vlaska Maravkova from the accounting firm of Ernst & Young, who's delivering the sealed envelopes here to the podium. And now, my friends, it is that time. It's time to get started. Here's NBA Deputy Commissioner and Chief Operating Officer Mark Tatum, who will reveal the lottery picks for the 2026 NBA Draft.
Thank you, Malika, and happy Mother's Day, everyone. Good luck to the teams. The 14th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft goes to the Charlotte Hornets. The 13th pick will be made by the Miami Heat. Picking 12th in the NBA draft will be the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Remember, the Thunder, they received this pick from the Clippers because of the Paul George trade in 2019.
The 11th pick belongs to the Golden State Warriors. Pick number 10 will be made by the Milwaukee Bucks. The 9th pick in the NBA draft belongs to the Dallas Mavericks.
So that means that Chicago has jumped into the top 4.
The 8th pick goes to the Atlanta Hawks.
Remember, Atlanta, they received this pick from New Orleans due to the Derek Queen trade last year.
Pick number 7 will be made by the Sacramento Kings.
That means that Memphis has also jumped into the top 4.
Picking 6th is the Brooklyn Nets.
That means that Utah is going to be in the top 4.
The 5th pick in the NBA draft will be made by the LA Clippers.
So the Clippers received this pick from the Pacers because of the Ivica Zubac trade in February, which means the top 4 will go the Chicago Bulls, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Utah Jazz, and the Washington Wizards. All that's left to be decided now is the order. So coming up, we will see who. Then there were 4: the Washington Wizards, the Utah Jazz, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Chicago Bulls. Joining us once again to announce the order of the top 4 picks is NBA Deputy Commissioner and Chief Operating Officer Mark Tatum.
Thanks again, Malika. The 4th pick in the NBA draft goes to the Chicago Bulls. The 3rd pick will be made by the Memphis Grizzlies. Picking 2nd will be the Utah Jazz, and that means that the number 1 pick in the 2026 NBA draft goes to the Washington Wizards.
The Washington Wizards win the 2026 NBA draft lottery. Remember, they made a huge trade last season. They added Anthony Davis, they added Trae Young, and now they will have a number 1 pick to pair alongside their young core. Jay Will, you say wow.
Well, just the fact that all the stuff looming around Anthony Davis and then being there and then getting Trae Young, and you think about the likes of what A.J. DeBonsa or Darren Peterson could be within that system, what a huge win for the Washington Wizards.
Can I say wow again?
Exactly.
I mean,
the W in Washington
certainly
stands for
they
wow.
made the 2 trades at the deadline with Trae Young and Anthony Davis, and then you can add an impact player at number 1. It changes the dynamics of your organization here.
Our senior insider, Shams Charania, is joining us here as well. Shams, what does this mean to this franchise?
I mean, a massive get for Washington and Utah, right? And you think about the bottom, those are the 2 bottom teams, and the new anti-tanking rules are set to be enforced starting next season. That is in the works. And so this really being the last year where you have teams at the bottom that are not going to be faced with now moving forward the relegation zone, where the bottom 3 will actually be punished, and then the rest of it from 4 to 10 and beyond will be a flattened odds system. And a team like the Miami Heat today finishes 13th. And their team, I'm told, has been supportive of this flattened odds of competitiveness because the marketplace really helps them being in Miami, where players obviously want to be at. So listen, next year moving forward, Brad Stevens said it the other day, it's going to be much more competitive.
Right, and to your point, Shams, this is the first team to win the lottery after finishing with the worst record under this current format. But as I said when I was walking around chatting with some of these players, ultimately, Jay, this today, yes, it's about teams and it's about their futures, but it's about where these young men are going to be stepping forward in the NBA.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of tough decisions to make, and it's not a no-brainer at number 1. A.J. DeBonsa and Darren Peterson, that's going to be a tough decision for Washington. And we have some years where you say it's a no-brainer. This is not. And you've got a number of difficult decisions that are going to be made throughout the top 10.
Yeah.
But the good news is that no matter where you fall in the top 10, you're going to get a really good player. This is a deep draft of star caliber talent.
And we've talked about just the depth of this draft, how it's one of the deepest that we've seen. And really, there is so much talent as you look up and down where this lottery has shaken out here, Jay.
Malik, I watched a guy like Michael Brown Jr. go for 40-plus in a game. I watched Darius Acuff do incredible things. I watched Keaton Wagler do incredible things. The names go on and on and on about the talent. So like JB said, you're in a lottery. You're going to get top-tier talent that could potentially turn into a franchise-like player.
Well, how about the team like the Clippers at number 5? You know, they go into losing the play-in here. They still have Kawhi Leonard, and you get a top 5 pick in a strong draft for a team that's changed the corner a little bit as far as going younger with a player like Darius Garland to build around. Now you get another pick to add to this group.
When you look up and down, Shams, this draft lottery, not just at the number 1 pick, which, yes, we've spent time talking about, and certainly congratulations to Washington here. What stands out to you?
I mean, the depth. That's the one thing when I talk to team executives, when I talk to everyone involved in this draft, is this could be the deepest, most talented draft up and down. And so you look at teams that have fallen, right? You think about the teams that might fall out of the top 4 or 5, whether it's the Kings, you think about the Nets, you think about teams that try to be competitive year in and year out, like Miami. This is a deep enough draft where you're going to get a player and someone is going to always rise that you're not expecting as well.
Caleb Wilson is someone, Bobby, who you had a conversation with and were so impressed by.
I could have talked to him for about 3 hours. I think he's an extension of what your coaching staff is as far as on the court. I love his demeanor. I love his basketball IQ. If we're using an NFL terminology, I kind of equate him as like a free safety, the ability to impact defensively, steals, blocks. I think wherever he goes, he's going to make an impact to a team here.
And tremendous upside. Like, he can really pass it as well, and I think he's just scratching the surface of how good he's going to be.
Especially when you see some of these workouts when the ball is in his hands, which it wasn't in his hands a ton at North Carolina. And also his ability to shoot and stretch the floor. I mean, there's still so much of Caleb Wilson's game that we haven't seen yet that I think is going to blossom perfectly at the NBA level.
Well, now we know the way that the lottery has shaken out and we march towards this 2026 NBA draft. What are you going to be watching, each of you, real quickly, most closely as we head towards June?
Yeah, I mean, there's teams that fell that could have potentially put themselves in a position. You think about Miami, Golden State in trades, and so now a lot of them going back to the drawing board.
The number 1 pick between Peterson and Debonsa is going to be really intriguing, but then where's Caleb Wilson going to go? I think that's a linchpin in this draft, because you could see him go as high as number 2, but you could also see him a little bit further down. And then the guards. There are a number of great guards in this draft. Kingston Flemings of Houston. We saw 3 guys on the same day go for over 40, all of them freshmen.
I think with everything going on around Ja Morant, Memphis at 3, with all these guards that we've been talking about, curious to see what Zach Kleiman and company does there.
Well, I know we've talked a lot about the guards. I'm interested, and they're not here in the top 10. Where do the Michigan players go? Certainly the bigs in Michigan, the national champions. Whoever is outside of this top 10 is going to get a really good player here.
Oh, and certainly here is Jeremy Woo's updated mock draft after the lottery. You can find the entire mock draft on ESPN.com/NBA. Hey, thank you for watching the NBA Draft Lottery. The next stop is the Draft Combine with coverage on Tuesday and Wednesday from 2 to 6 Eastern on ESPN2. And the NBA Draft is already just over a month away. First round will be June 23rd on ESPN and